All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a platform like Zendesk and really understand how it's using AI to completely change the customer service game. By the time we're done here, you'll know exactly what's going on under the hood. You know the feeling, right? We have all been there. You explain your whole situation, then you get transferred, and boom, you're starting from scratch. It's one of those universal frustrations, and it's that exact problem that platforms like Zendesk were literally designed to eliminate. So at its heart, Zendesk is basically a central command hub. Its whole job is to grab every single customer conversation. Doesn't matter if it's an email, a chat, a phone call, or a social media message, and pull it all into one single organized place. This way, support teams can solve problems without ever losing the plot.
I love this analogy. It's a perfect way to picture it. You know, just like an air traffic controller has eyes on every single plane, Zendesk gives a support team that same kind of complete top-down view of every customer conversation. It just helps them manage the chaos.
So how does it pull all this off? Well, it's not just one single piece of tech. It's actually a whole bunch of different AI systems all working together. So let's pop the hood and take a look at the engine that makes this whole thing run.
Probably the easiest way to get this is with a simple analogy: the ears, the brain, and the voice. So first you've got the ears, which use natural language processing to figure out what a customer is really trying to say and even how they're feeling. Then the brain kicks in, using machine learning on billions, and I mean billions, of past interactions to predict what needs to happen next. And finally, you have the voice, which is the cool generative AI part that can create brand new text, like summarizing a super long ticket into a few bullet points.
Okay, but before we get too carried away with all the cool bells and whistles, here's a really important reality check. The most powerful AI tools, especially those generative ones we just talked about, they're usually not included in the basic package. They're often part of a more expensive plan or a separate add-on you have to pay for. So that's a huge thing to keep in mind.
So we know how the technology works in theory, but who does it actually help in the real world, and what does it do for them? Let's look at how this AI really makes a difference for the people using it day in and day out.
The AI is really built to help three main groups. And what's cool is that the benefits for each one are all connected. You get happier customers because they get answers faster. When that happens, it reduces the manual, repetitive work for the agents. And with agents freed up from that, managers get way better data and insights to make the whole operation smarter. It's a win-win-win. Let's start with us, the customers. The AI bots are designed to feel way more natural and conversational. But the most important part? If the bot gets stuck, it hands off the entire conversation history to a human agent. No more repeating yourself. And the knowledge base is smarter too. It uses what's called semantic search, which means it understands the intent behind your question, not just the exact keywords you used.
Now let's talk about the agents. This isn't just about making them work faster. It's about improving something the industry calls agent experience, or AX. And that's a huge deal. Contact centers often have really high turnover, which is incredibly expensive. So making an agent's job easier and less frustrating is a massive win for the business's bottom line.
And here's exactly how they do it. The generative AI gives agents some amazing tools right at their fingertips. They can take a monster email thread and, with one click, get a summary of the key points. They can write a reply and instantly shift the tone from casual to formal. Or they can just type a few quick notes and the AI will expand it into a perfectly polished, professional response. It's pretty wild. And we're not just talking about theory here. This has a real-world impact that is, well, it's just massive. Think about it. An agent gets a ticket with a 50-message-long history. Instead of spending 15 minutes of their life reading through it all, they just click Summarize, get the gist in seconds, and solve the problem. That's a real case of going from 15 minutes of work down to just 2. And what about the managers? Well, instead of just randomly checking a few tickets here and there to see how their team is doing, the AI can analyze 100% of all interactions. It automatically flags conversations that are perfect teaching moments, giving managers the exact data they need to help their team get even better.
Okay, so the technology is obviously very powerful, but for any real business, the practical stuff matters just as much, if not more. So let's get into the reality check. What's the deal with security, compliance, and, of course, the price tag?
When you're handling sensitive customer data, security has to be rock solid. Zendesk has all the major certifications you'd expect, like SOC 2. It's also got tools to help you stay compliant with rules like GDPR. But, and this is a big but, some really critical features, like being HIPAA compliant or automatically blacking out sensitive personal info like credit card numbers, Those often require paid add-ons. That's a super important detail for anyone in a regulated industry.
So let's talk money. Here's a quick look at their standard pricing. As you can see, the price per agent climbs as you add more firepower, things like more advanced reporting, custom permissions for different agents, and more access for your developers. But the license fee you see, that's really just the tip of the iceberg. The number you really need to care about is the total cost of ownership. That includes the cost of setting it all up, moving your old data over, training your entire team to use it, and the time and people needed to manage the system day to day. You really have to look at all those things together. Now, one of the questions that always comes up is how Zendesk stacks up against a beast like Salesforce Service Cloud. And it really boils down to this. Zendesk is famous for being really easy to use and super fast to get up and running. That makes it a perfect fit for small to medium-sized businesses. Salesforce, on the other hand, is an absolute powerhouse of customization, but all that power comes with more complexity, which is why it's often the choice for huge enterprise companies with really complex needs. And that brings us to the big final question. When you look at all these incredible features, but you also factor in the security requirements and the very real costs, is paying extra for that advanced AI add-on actually worth the money? Honestly, the answer really depends on your specific situation. If your team is absolutely drowning in repetitive tickets, the return on that investment could be enormous. But for a smaller team, maybe not. That's the real challenge, figuring out if it makes sense for you.